Chris, what's that on the table?
So supposedly that is a 19-something 90s floppy. Is that what it's called? A floppy?
This is a floppy from 1999 game.
No, oh geez, stuff coming out of it. No clue what this game piece is, what the game even was. So any of you historians know what it's from and how it was utilized, leave in the comments for us. We would love to learn. But shout out to Leith for providing such great historical artifact to us. And yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it. Chris, we could just Google about the game, right?
What's up, Pit Crew? Welcome back. We are fastly approaching states. Host Nathan, host Chris Topher, host Ian Barber, rushing to victory with the M-hat. How's everybody doing?
It's been a long season.
It's been so fast.
It's almost over.
Yeah.
Already.
Yep.
Before we go any further, can we acknowledge to the Pit Crew, it is currently Sunday at 12:16 p.m. as we're recording this. And you're going to see this probably on Wednesday. So if anything's out of date, Fenton hasn't completed yet, divisions aren't released for states. We're going to talk about these things here related to the FIM district. Just know...
Find me on Discord.
Discord.
Here's your timestamp and time where this is recorded, so don't penalize us for stuff we don't know yet. But...
So, Chris, how was your week?
So our
couple weeks, whatever.
Yeah, so the past couple of weeks.
I see there's 2 question marks next to your name, so I want you to go first.
So the past couple of weeks. Now, to be fair, right, I've been a little busy on my end with work and family things, right. So I haven't been within the shop and with the team for a hot minute here. But based off of what I've been hearing from our team, for what the students been working on, we made some upgrades to the robots, added some new features to it. That honestly, I think the shooting capabilities for our team, we're going to be running the mixed with a lot of these big dumper designs heading into states. So the kids and the team are excited for that aspect of it, as well as just tuning in our autos, our vision, going to practice fields, and just making sure everything works. And yeah, the team's excited. Can't wait to see what the new iteration will be like for states, and yeah, everything's running on a high for right now. So just making sure everything is squared away, everything's cut right for our parts. Yeah, we're ready to rock and roll essentially. So, but you guys, so how about you, Nate? I know you guys competed at the Livonia district week or 2 ago. So how did that event go for you guys?
It was good. Everything was working much better than Belleville. Made some last minute fixes to the robot, much less beaching, so that was great. Everything was good. Got paired up with a lot of box bots and kit bots, so that was unfortunate. Like, we were just playing our game and everything was working, so we were in last place at some point on the first day, and then second day you come back and shot all the way up to 15th. So we went 6-6. We just lost our first 5 matches to get those out of the way first.
6-1.
So
yeah.
I went into playoffs. We got picked by Golden Gears. Very surprised we got picked as early as that. I think they probably should have scorched a little bit more. They didn't pick anybody on the field. They just picked us off the field first. So then we came back around. We got Livonia Warriors, and they had a fun time. So I do have to say, so it was our seniors' last event. They're nagging me to shout them out. So Diana, best drive coach we've had probably ever. Corbin Elias, great seniors, great senior class. Instagram, FRC_1250 Gator bots. You're welcome. Sorry, guys. They wouldn't leave me alone about that.
No, I'm glad you threw that in there, because it's always important with the seniors last event too. And I know your group too, don't know them very well, but just seeing it off seasons and the various events I'm volunteering at, you got a good group. So
thank you.
Yeah, they're all energetic. They love, they love where they're at, and they're just great folks. Great folks.
Great folk.
Yeah.
Blue Oak Apparel. Seeing how's your team doing?
Yeah, it's been a hectic last couple weeks. 95-58, 818 both were at Troy too. 95-58, our team for the younger members. Their season's over, but they definitely improved a lot from Marysville, and we're really excited to see them on 818 next year. I think because we got a lot of, like you mentioned, a couple of your seniors graduating. We got a lot of great seniors on 818, and still not 100% sure right now if they're going to state. Obviously, by the time this is out, we're going to know, but it's looking likely. But those seniors, yeah, they're and there's juniors and sophomores on that team too. It's not just seniors, but just to be clear, in case everyone's curious, the structure of the team. But yeah, there's certainly, we're gonna wait and see how that plays out. Some good improvement from them at Troy too as well. But I'd say the bigger story since we last recorded for me was volunteer coordinating Troy 1, Troy 2. And for those that were at Troy 2 to the very end, you'll know we had a tornado. And not the one on Nate's shirt. Yeah. So we have a plan. For those who don't know, every at least district event in FIM, I'm pretty sure globally this is a requirement, but you have an emergency action plan, so you're prepared for these situations theoretically, assuming you actually put thought into it. I believe they're checked by someone to make sure there is thought put into it. But yeah, that was certainly a lot of excitement right towards the end. Not something I was expecting to ever have to do, but we were obviously ready for it. And I think, Chris, you were there. I feel like it went pretty smooth.
I do want to absolutely commend everyone involved who's ready for the tornado warning that happened at Troy 1, right? You guys, Troy 2, right? So you guys, I know Srini, Eddie, the ECVC of the event, we're ready. Everyone made it to the tornado shelters in a timely manner. Not everyone was panicking. Everything went smooth, and I couldn't be more grateful that you guys handled it the way you guys did for that weekend. So again, you guys did a phenomenal job. Yeah. Absolutely every single one of you.
Shout out to Nix as well, the fourth member of our little admin team there. And everyone in attendance too. I couldn't have asked for anything more smooth. There was no panic or stampeding, or everyone did great. So yeah. Shout out to Troy 2 spectators and volunteers and everything. All right. With that being said, let's start talking about the good stuff.
Yeah, the meat.
District championships. Some district championships are actually already over by the time we're recording this, but our Michigan State Championship is next weekend, as well as a lot of the larger district championships. And since in Team Update 19, we did get an update on our point thresholds for the ranking points.
That's right. So let me go ahead and just pull it up real quickly on my phone here. The threshold for district championships for the Energize RP, formerly 100, now bumped up to 240. For the Energize RP, the Supercharge RP from 360 to remain as 360, and the Traversal RP staying the same as 50 points. So the only change in that being the Energize RP being 240 at the district champ level, so states here. And
Nate, what do you think of that?
Yeah,
cool. Shoot more balls.
I think it makes sense, right? As the game progressed through the weeks, more and more teams are just hitting the 100 RP, either right at the end of auto or during even the first 10 seconds before the first shift, right? So, and that was just getting consistently. Even some of the events that I went to volunteering at, so Belleville, Troy 1, Troy 2, there were several qual matches that RP was just being met, right off the rip. So I think it's a good change that needed to happen to increase that threshold. I think team-wise, however, there's a little bit of a too short of a notice for teams to adjust their vision and autos to try to meet the 240 threshold right off of auto, if that's the goal for the team. So I'm curious of if there's going to be some shift in strategies from teams that are trying to gun the 240 as quick as possible at the beginning of the match, or just let them play out, throughout the game and just get the 240 as, just whenever,
Ian, what do you think?
I don't think we're going to see too much strategy change from teams. I think that's an interesting. I haven't thought about it like that, because my standpoint, I guess, has always been you're trying to win and no one's climbing. So the way to win, you just need to get as many fuel as you can as fast as you can. Whether that be auto, teleop. If you can get 240 in auto, well, probably you wanted to be doing that already, right? So I don't know if we'll see many changes from that standpoint. I know one thing I will share, kind of crunching in the numbers to this, and I want to shout out the Blue Alliance for having all the amazing insights on there. That announcement for those thresholds came out right after week 4 of competition. The average number of fuel scored in a match by an alliance in week 4 of the playoffs was 233.8. The week after that, in week 5, so the week after they announced it, it was 243.8. So I almost feel like maybe they're assuming roughly the playoff teams are the ones that advance to the district championships, and that's kind of the number we're hitting in our playoffs globally right now. Mm-hmm. That includes regionals too, but I wonder if that's maybe where they got that number from. I don't think they just drew it out of the air.
Right.
I think it's more interesting they didn't raise the supercharge at all. I would have thought maybe in the 400s somewhere. Not 400 itself, but between 400 and 500 maybe to make it a little more difficult. Right. But I'm just me. Nate?
I don't really care about that. I think it's going to be interesting in how it affects climbs, because now if everyone's getting 5 ranking points or so, right? At Livonia, for example, Rush was perfect, 5 ranking points, except for one match they got 4 ranking points. So if you can't beat them in firepower and getting the 360, then you got to do it another way. What's the other way? Climb, right? So it's going to be interesting. Maybe not at states, but at champs, we're going to see more climbers being put on in order to get not 6 ranking points, but 5. Because if you can't beat them in firepower, like I said, you got to get that 5th ranking point another way, which is climbing. So I'll be interested to see that, especially if they do bump up the 360 even higher. Then it's going to be even more impossible, and then you're going to start climbing, right? Just not even just for points, just for the ranking point. Mm-hmm. So
yeah,
240, 360, I don't really care about, but it'll be interesting to see how that affects climbs. And then HQ lowered it to 40. just to reiterate, in case you missed the last episode. Throw some chaos. I don't care. It'll be fun, guys. Right? Who cares?
Yeah, and it's interesting to bring up the point of ranking points, right? Because I think we'll talk about a little bit in the episode here in terms of just the ranking point itself being the 5 so far, because nobody's going for the climb at the moment, right? So for Worlds, I'm sure that there's going to be teams that are going to go for the extra ranking point through the tower and see if they could just steal it from the other teams if they don't have a climb. So I liked how you brought that up there. So
yeah. Before we talk about that, though, I think the other thing we want to touch on, right? So that was Team Update 19, I believe, that announced the threshold changes.
Yes.
There was also
the real one, not the joke one.
Yeah, not the joke one. My gosh. But there was another change in Team Update 19 that, Chris, I'm hoping you can help walk us through a little bit. There were a couple rules that got a very major rewrite.
Absolutely. That took into effect, right, week 5. Yep, week 5. And I'll go ahead and I have it pulled up on my phone here. So let me just read just the main gist of it on the update here, which of course we highly recommend that you guys read the rest of the rules, the rest of Team Update 19 on your own time, so that way you fully understand what that entails. But I'll just go ahead and read the main blurb. The first off here, G415, a robot with bumpers completely outside of their alliance zone may not damage or functionally impair an opponent robot by initiating contact either directly or transitively via a scoring element controlled by a robot. So that's 415. 416, main blurb of that update rule change is a robot may not intentionally and or recklessly damage or functionally impair an opponent's robot. So basically, what the old G415 rule was, how it was originally before week 5, was if you had an extension out of your robot, an intake, for example, and you just happen to have it cross into the frame perimeter of another opponent bot, no matter where you are in the field, that automatically gets called as a minor foul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No damage or anything.
No damage.
You just got touched.
Just a
right?
touch, right? So like literally just, your finger, the analogy of your finger is over the line. Oh, you got a minor foul.
You need to touch them, not just get over the line.
Touch them, correct, right? So just over the frame perimeter and contact. No damage still. 416 then relates to initiating. So same premise, right? You initiated contact inside the opponent's frame perimeter, but we perceive as damage. Damage being either functionally or cosmetic of the bot that that's just damage, right? So even like a sponsor panel being
I think
bent
the cosmetic part was added after Team Update 19.
after, correct, yes. So get to that in a minute here. 416 then becomes a major plus
Yellow.
a yellow, right? The new 415, new 416, what that entails. So the new 415.
You already read it.
Right. So is
You don't need to read it again.
right. No. Right. So outside of your alliance zone, right? That if you right, same thing. Your intake is out. You initiated contact to an opposing bot, outside your zone. Yeah, and it impairs the team, right? So the functionality of the bot is hindered. That's where now it becomes a major plus a yellow card for 15, right? And the reason why that was in place, at least how I understood it, is let's say, for example, right, red bot is in their own zone. They're collecting pieces. They're just playing the game of scoring. Or the blue bot comes into the red zone to intentionally play defense, right? I think that rule change is to give benefit of the doubt for, let's say, for this example, the Red Alliance, to allow them to play the game without them being penalized for it, right? Because think about this, right? Blue bot plays the risk of playing defense, right? So they're jostling and doing their thing. Red Alliance, they're collecting. They're not paying attention of the blue bot as much in terms of like their intake, crossing their frame perimeter. They're just wanting to collect. They're just wanting to score in this high action, fast pace moment of time, right? I think HQ did a great job with the rule change that essentially eliminates that factor, alleviates the pressure of the Red Alliance, and lets them play the game, right? That's that intent, how I see it. And 416, right? 416 doesn't matter of the zone, right? Doesn't matter where you are. If you're essentially playing the game dangerously, right? If you're purposely,
I think the word was it reckless?
reckless, correct. Yep. Intentionally or recklessly damage the functionality of a bot, right? This just tells a team that is either playing defense, or even offense, just essentially don't. This is not combat robotics. This, right? If you're playing to slow down a team, play that game. Don't intentionally try to play defense that will damage another bot and functionally slows them down, right?
Yeah.
For example, right, let's say a hopper, right, one team has their hopper out, and the other team is playing defense, but you're purposefully smashing into their hopper, right? And the hopper itself, it deforms. It, let's say, a hex shaft gets bent, and now you can't intake, or now they can't play the game the way they're intending to do, right? Now at that point, that becomes a penalty on the defense spot because they were seeking out damage, or not seeking out damage, but they were playing.
Their intake's out though.
No.
Didn't you say intake out?
Well, let me backtrack here, right?
Okay.
Blue Alliance is in the blue zone, right?
Mhm.
Their intake is out.
Mhm.
Red bot, nothing is out of their frame perimeter, right? So it's just, just their bot playing defense. But the red bot smashes into blue bot's hopper, their intake or whatnot. And that, let's say, deforms their mechanism. That, right? That impairs them during the match. That point, right? That becomes the major and a card against the defense bot, the red bot in this example, right?
Yeah, because it seems like they're reckless. In this situation,
Right.
it was interpreted that it was recklessly, intentionally,
right.
just trying to break their intake,
Right.
not trying to play defense.
Right, exactly, right. So so with that, it just I like this change as well that tells teams play safely, right? You don't need to go out and if you have, like, say, if you have the opportunity to play defense, but in a manner that just slows them down, play that game. You don't need to go out and be on the hunt to look for things to, like, damage. That penalizes you, right? And
Thankfully, I don't feel like many teams
don't do it,
that,
right?
So
Right. So,
no,
yeah. But yeah.
it makes sense. So basically, it's at the end of the day, it's a lot more forgiving for contact inside a frame perimeter as long as it's not causing damage, especially,
Mhm.
I think is the big change.
Right.
But also, just making sure there's a little more grace in general. And teams, pit crew, remember, if you have questions about the rules, ask them during opening ceremonies at your event and get the final discretion from your head referee. And you kind of use the rule book and the head referee at your event. The question box, questions ahead of time, is your source of truth for that.
Absolutely. And I want to jump into then in terms of the strategies. How are then teams going to adjust within those rules, right? Because now there's more right. There's like I said before, there's less pressure on teams to worry about, my intake crosses a frame perimeter. Oh crap, right? Now I think more teams are able then to just play the game that they're playing, right? Collecting more balls, right? Either playing the starvation game or playing, right, the high shooting, that moment of time, right? So there's less pressure off of just those silly fouls now, and now I think teams are now able to analyze the risk and reward when playing, whatever strategy they're playing, right? So.
Yeah, especially I think with the starvation game, if you're in your opponent's zone, being mindful of people might not deliberately damage you or recklessly damage you, but when you have something out over there, that's a little less protected maybe than it used to be as part of these.
You're right. So just keep in mind, for those, and like Ian said, pit crew, confer with your head refs, question box, question during before opening ceremonies, right?
During the driver's meeting.
During driver's
I
meeting.
think
Yep.
it depends on the event, but I think usually the pit admin table is where you turn those questions into.
Okay. Yeah. So absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So let's talk a little about the meta. I think we talked a little about it with the ranking points. I think one thing we talked about really early on, winning auto still seems important from the playoffs so far this year. 75% of the time, if you win auto, you're winning the match. So clearly that having that transition shift to empty out, but then having that 25-second first shift to gather seems to generally be the better place to be.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's more analysis we can add to that, but
No, it's like we predicted at the beginning of the season.
we got one right.
We got a couple right.
Here's one thing I noticed too. Again, shout out the Blue Alliance going through their insights. And I think this ended up on Reddit or Chief or somewhere too I'd seen. But this week, week 6, we finally, again, there's a few districts and regionals wrapping up their qualification matches, I think, as we started recording this. But as of a couple hours before, we had 2 6 ranking point matches. We'd had a handful of traversal ranking points before, but never with that supercharge as well. So I guess my question, and we started to touch on it a little bit, maybe for Worlds especially, but do we think maybe we're going to start seeing emphasis on the climbs, not even for the win necessarily or for the points, but for just trying to grab that 6th ranking point.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. If you can't get the 360, then get the other one. And you need to be perfect at Worlds, basically. You have 10 matches. You have to be absolutely perfect. So you need to get one or the other, right?
Well, here's the
5,
thing. Do you think teams
4,
are going to
6.
try to get both?
Yeah, right. That's part of being perfect. Yeah. It'll be very, very difficult, right? That's why we haven't seen it up until now. But if you can't get the 360, then they need to go for the climb. Like, you need to get 4 minimum per match at Worlds.
Wow,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Right. So then it's your choice is either climb or 360 or both. Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting as well how many of those teams are going to make those adjustments and add climbers to their buy. Granted, too, if they have the space and if they have enough weight to do so, right? Because we've seen a lot of designs out there to where it looked like there's a lot of teams that are right at the 115 weight limit.
I don't even think it's a matter of that. I think it's a matter of rebuild or not rebuild, right?
Well, there's a lot of teams that have
Jack in the Bot.
yeah.
Who else is rebuilt? There's been a couple others, right, that are rebuilding before DCMP and Worlds, right? So States is going to end for Michigan. Then we're going to have probably like a week and a half before you got to ship your robot and stuff. So do you rebuild to Rush, to Crew, to Poofs, to Robonauts, to whoever, right? So it's not a matter of like, do we have enough space and weight to put on a climber? It's who are we going to rebuild our robot to, right?
Yeah, I feel like for super high resource teams, that's reasonable. I feel like for the kind of tier below that, though, I kind of hear what Chris is saying because because I don't ever work with the design of the robot and kind of that part of it, so I don't think about it. But like if we think back to the old days, like cheesecaking on a climber perspective, just an L1, that doesn't seem very hard. But like you said, maybe the weight is going to become a factor.
So then I want to then lead into in terms of that strategy too, right? If you do have a climber on your bot, right? I think it's important to then, depending on if you're qualifying for states, right? You look at your field of the teams, right? Look at how many of the quote unquote top teams on your field don't have climbers, right? If you're paired up with another team that has a climber, well, then maybe instead of the strategy of trying to beat them or trying to win, because if it's just a scoring type of game, right, you're not going to win outscoring, like Poofs for Madtown, right? If they don't have a climber, well, then why not play spoiler? Take that ranking point away from them, and right.
Well, you can't take it away from them, but you can get a ranking point. They
couldn't, right? Exactly, right. So
maybe you lose with 3 ranking points and then win with 5.
Yeah, right. Because ultimately, for alliance selection, that could be the difference, whether or not you're ranked where you want to be and pick the right team you want, right? So
I feel like that might be there might be an angle where scouting is going to come into play for this too, because like if you go into a match, like say your 3 upper level teams, especially, I'm talking in the context of the Michigan State Championship, especially because I feel like the level of play there is always. Well, we'll have to see with California champs now existing too, but it historically always felt like it was like the second highest level in the world behind, the world championships. I feel like you could look at a match and say, hey, we got 2 climbers, and back like we talked in strategy video 1, let's just do 2 L1s in auto, 2 L1s in tally-op. Let's get that point. We feel like we can still win with the fuel we can score earlier in auto and for the rest of tally-op. And I feel like getting that 360 mark in the Michigan district, especially at states, I feel like it's not going to be that hard. I feel like a lot of those top teams are going to be sitting at 5.0 ranking score up till the end or until they play head to head and then someone takes a loss, right? Yep. So I think that 6th ranking point, I think you got to start thinking about it if you're gonna if you want to be rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and even with those strategies, right? You got a match that you want to call out, right?
Yeah, I don't know how much this ties into that particular strategy, but I know we picked out a couple matches we wanted to just encourage you, take a look at if you think what we saw in them sounds interesting.
Or even
We're
makes
not going to
sense.
throw the clips in. They're going to be kind of just quick running through them right here. Match I want to talk briefly about would be at Livonia, qualification match number 53, which for that time set our record high score in the state of Michigan. I can't confirm or deny. It's been broken since then. I don't think it has. But one thing I noticed with those 3 robots, and I saw a thread for this on Chief that I didn't read. I was just perusing through there earlier and saw that it was kind of mentioned. But what I noticed the 3 teams in that match on that record-breaking alliance did during auto is it was like a rotational system as for who was going out to midfield. So at the start, you had your 2 teams go over the bump. They go converge at the middle, try to grab all the fuel they can, and they're going back to score. Once they're back, that 3rd team is going out and trying to pick up, and they're also getting back to score in auto before it's over. So you're kind of maximizing your ability to get out there and grab the fuel you can before time runs out. I think that's the first time I'd seen that myself. I'm sure it's been happening before, but I thought that was interesting. I also thought looking at their shifts and how they handled it, I'll just focus on the first 2 shifts for that alliance that set the record. First shift, everyone's passing until they must have figured out for their teams what their magic number was to get the full hopper, or just eyeballing the field. But it was about 15 seconds left in the shift. They stopped passing, started hoarding so they could go over, have a full belly to shoot when it started. And then once everyone got their volleys off, kind of what I saw, one team was dedicated to cleanup. One team was dedicated for, I'm empty, let me go get more out from midfield, clean up everything we just shot. And then the 3rd team was kind of playing back and forth, just kind of eyeballing it, looked like, based on, do we still have more over here? Or, am I going to start interfering with that one robot sting over here's problem? Let me go get more of our shots from midfield. I thought that looked really clean. I will say the other alliance in that situation, though, it didn't seem like their robots were maybe having their top performance in that match. So that kind of felt like very much an ideal 3v0 almost strategy. Like you weren't getting much defense and they weren't particularly aggressively hoarding on their side. So I don't know how that strategy might play out in other situations. But I thought it was one worth checking out. Chris, you had one too, I believe, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So unconsciously, as I was on my dinner table eating a roasted duck, I was watching the live stream for the Pacific Northwest District Champs that occurred, and it happened to be actually a random qual match, which if you guys want to look on the Blue Alliance for PNW District Champs qualification match number 17, you will see a match that really is a tale of 2 teams of that match, right? You have 28-11 and then 29-10. 29-10 being the big dog at that event, but 28-11, realistically, you want to highlight, right? First, that team, their defense capability, right? One strategy that teams will play is how do we slow down the high scoring team, right? Because ultimately, right, they, at least from what I saw from the live stream, they knew that they were not going to win solely on the fact that 29-10, their rebuilt bot, is a 3-wide high capacity shooter, big dumper, right? But it kind of looked like they were going to play defense to really slow them down and see if they can have them avoid the supercharged RP. So how do we play that route of the match? Well, 29-10, what they love to do is once they get their volley off, right? They love collecting and firing off their volley into their field. They generally don't care about when they're about to shoot. They don't care about them having a full hopper. They care about do we have more sets of fuel on their side of the field than the other alliance, right? Because if the other alliance have to play catch up, have to play mouse, cat and mouse of finding fuel for them to even shoot, well, now you're slowing down their cycle time and you're slowing down their time when they can shoot a high amount. And 29-10, right? They're playing that starvation game for when they're during their off shift, right? But going back to 29-10, what they love to do, get their volley, send as many balls to their side as much as possible, and then collect stragglers, right? So they're not even focusing on big groups of fuel on the field. They're just grabbing whatever that's there, and that will eventually lead up to a high capacity, right? So not a full hopper, but capacity. But what they love to do is they love to go under the trench a lot, and if they have a full volley, then head over to the bump and try to dump it off fast as possible. What 2811 did very smart was that they knew the path of where the 2910 was going to go and just shut out their pathway, right? Yeah. What they played smart is that they were hugging the trench. So the trench that 2910 was going to go, right at the quote-unquote exit of the trench, they're hugging that exit. So now the only path that 2910 can go without having to go,
all the way across the field,
all the way across the other trench is go through the bump. Well, they loop around, hug around the bump, and play that space from 2910. And so now 2910, now they're fighting, I think at this one moment of time of the match, the near side of the field. Now they're just fighting to get some space to get their bumper across the line to where you can legally shoot into the hub and just fire it off, right? And all those few seconds that they're wasting, right? 2-3 seconds they're wasting during their shift, which is the most important part, right? Because now that adds up, and now it's less volleys that 2910 is able to take. And I think at the end of the match, they only got about 340 points. So, and again, Picker, you can fact check me on this if I'm wrong. But if I remember correctly, they only got about 340. So I think they just missed the energized RP. They still won the match, but they played spoiler and prevented their RP from getting reached and slowed them down so that way they're not running up the score of 400, 500 points by themselves, right? So I think effective defense, right, is generally a way to slow down those teams.
That's a good example to check out.
Absolutely. So, but yeah.
How you doing, Nate?
I'm good. What's next?
What's next? Well, I think we hit all of our. Anyone else? Anything else they want to say on strategy?
Nope.
If not,
no.
As I'm starting
Beating
to lose
the dead
my
Rebels
voice.
thing.
Let's talk about Michigan State Championships. It's no secret we're kind of a Michigan-based podcast. We love our pit crew around the world and around the country, though. But
FIM number 1. FIM number 5.
Well, I don't know about that. It's
about maybe 3 below California North and California South.
Boo. Love you, Brittany, though.
Oh, yeah, we miss you, Brittany, friend of the pod. Yeah. So who should we watch out for at the state championship?
Right. So I think it's no secret that as of this recording, Rush is they're on their game this year, right? They went to 3 competitions, one of them being a regional and one at the Miami. I believe it's Miami Valley or Buckeye Regional that they went to. Buckeye.
They went to Buck. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 wins, got an impact banner too, so 4 banners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and their game is as buttery smooth as possible, right? They're a trench bot, so they like to come out the midfield, dump their sallow, come to the midfield again and shoot, and they're a high capacity scoring team that, on average, they're getting 300 points per match, something like that.
Yeah, that is their EPA from StatBotics. I think it says 316.
316.
Yeah. And I chose my outfit today very deliberately. Part the hat. Let's think of those national champion Michigan
I chose
basketball.
my outfit deliberately today too.
But I think someone else could be a national champion just like them, in the form of Team 27, or at least a state championship. We'll have to.
But you know what they don't have?
Climber.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know. Well, we don't know that just yet. They may add one.
Crew. had a climber at Woodhaven. They just didn't use it, and then they took it off for Troy 1. But they do have that little spot to at least pull up.
Mm-hmm.
So screw your team to watch, Nate.
Yeah, mostly because they're on my fantasy team. But I really like the crew. They are fast. They're awesome team. Just period. Like all the drive team is really chill. They're cool dudes. They're fast. They know how to whip that thing around. Like there's no hesitation. There's a lot of practice. You can tell with that robot. It's well built. It's got a climber.
I love
It's
watching
good.
them shoot.
It's a good robot.
Yeah.
Like it's a really freaking good robot. Has anyone seen 1918?
A little bit. So 19,
What kind of robot are they?
they're a big dumper.
Okay, so 27 dumper, crew dumper, NC Gears dumper, Strike Force dumper.
No, they're a single shooter turret.
Strike Force?
Yeah, Strike Force.
For reference, pit crew, kind of, because it might seem like we're bringing these teams out of nowhere. We have a list of the top 20 teams in Michigan by EPA as of the time we were recording this. that
From
we're kind of
Statbotics.
referring to refresh our memory on all the great robots we have that could be good candidates. So yeah, we have a good number of dumpers at the top. Yeah,
Top 3 are dumpers.
Yeah.
So Strike Zone dumper, Gems double dumper.
Strike Zone, they're a redesigned dumper from week 1. Trench bot, very similar to honestly Poops, the way that they've re-engineered their bot. So,
Rubble Jackets turret, Bees dumper, Engineered's double turret. So yeah, I like the crew a lot. Strike Force, I think some people might have forgotten about them. They haven't played since week 4 or so, I think.
Yeah.
Gems, I think, are good. Definitely better than last year.
yeah.
Hot's got their climber, so that's the thing. We've seen them climb. They're putting up 164, it says, so that's a solid pick. But yeah, people are gonna have to weigh their choices on firepower or climbing. But that's the thing, is that like climbing is gonna get you high ranking, but climbing is not gonna win you matches, right?
Yeah, unless you can do it without sacrificing that much time.
Right.
Mhm.
And also, the climbing isn't really a difference maker in the playoff at that point.
Exactly.
Right,
Right.
it
That's
doesn't
what I'm trying
matter.
to say.
Right.
It's all about qualification ranking
Right.
point. That's your only real, I think, advantage with it.
Yep.
So, Ian, what do you think? Who do you like? Who do you don't like?
Um,
Who do you hate?
who do I hate? I honestly can't pick a team to hate. We got so many great teams,
So funny.
But I think I know some people don't like the EPA metric, but I feel like this year, honestly, it would give a good gauge of who I would look out for, right? Because it's a very one-dimensional game. It's all in the points, and it'll do a good job of telling you who's consistent and who's regularly putting up points. I think the way that the metric is calculated, it would do a good job, probably better job than it is to eyeball it by scouting it to figure out how well these teams are doing.
I think it's better than OPR as well. I feel like OPR is close, but I think EPA feels a little bit more accurate than OPR right now.
So-
Yeah.
My opinion, and there's always, you got to keep in mind, do they do a redesign that can change things? Do you not be
Yeah.
ready at all for your first event? That's going to drag your EPA down because it'll
You
just
suck.
trade it differently.
Yeah.
But it's, I think that it's a cop-out answer, but who's to look out for? Go on EPA and look at who's going to this championship and sort top to bottom, and that's who I'm on a high level most to least interested in terms of how I think they'll do generally.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. DT is gonna win. So
When was the last time DT won states?
think it's
last
been
year
a
was
while.
Hemlock.
It's been a hot while. Yeah.
After that, I forgot because I wasn't there.
Peop-
I was at 24.
Well, I think it's interesting because people always talk about, oh, DTE's loaded, or this field's loaded. All 4 fields are loaded. But it does seem like people seem to think DTE teams get like burnt out from, because DTE's so loaded, they just can never keep, like they all beat each other up in their interdivision playoffs. So when they go to the FIM Stein, they're just tired or something.
It's like Rocky, then Rocky.
It's like, no,
People say things like
DT's
this.
the best. Consumers is the one that you forget about. It's like your stepbrother. You just forget to give him a birthday present. Hemlock is the weird special child. And then Aptive is like, oh, hey, Aptive's there.
Oh, Hemlock.
forgotten
you mean
child
the
you
one that
even
runs
had.
like a practice match instead of finals? What?
Let's see if we can have that happen again.
Bad memories. We got anything else, Steve?
I mean, not really. Other than that pit crew, just get ready for states. It's gonna be a good one this year. High action, a lot of scoring, and it's gonna be good.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Frost, for joining. Remember to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below of who you think is going to win states or what division will be the best. Follow us on Instagram at pitpodcast_official. Follow us on TikTok. Same thing. Comment who you think is going to do well at your DCMP event. What DCMP are you playing at? Say hi to us at states. Not during a match. Don't talk to me during a match.
Yeah,
but say
if you
hi
see
when we're
us,
getting food.
Come say hi. Chris will definitely sign something
Yeah.
for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Remember to look
Absolutely.
up at the volunteer area in the pits and wave to us or something. Get your merch at shop.pitpodcast.com, powered by Blue Arc Apparel.
Great folk.
Great folk. One big folk.
Any lasting comments, boys?
We'll see you at the competition.
States, baby. FIM #1. We out here.
Don't forget Wisconsin.